Holy bananas. It is really a wonderful new episode of Walking the Crossroads. I am here with Laura Marie, and she is a therapist and also a very uh, powerful, spiritually active Asatru practitioner and someone they have a high regard for in the realm of helping other people and also kind of being aware of your path spiritually. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
This is a nice surprise because it's actually my birthday and it
Shut the
is,
front door.
yeah.
Okay, so all right.
So, having
Wow.
um
Okay.
that coming in that
Is it a landmark birthday or is it?
kind of sorta.
Okay.
We're at
Okay.
45 this year.
Wow. That's a big one. If I remember mine, 45 is like, whoa, like you're not in your early 40s anymore. Like
No.
so and it's like what kind of an adult are we? Like well, what kind of really
hmm
are we doing something special for ourselves to kind of commemorate this space and so does it feel like that kind of year
It
for you? Like you're
it do-
actually
it does. It
yeah.
feels like you're coming into a space of your own. And then more importantly, understanding where you want to go in life, making, better choices, better boundaries, right? Not saying that I feel 45,
Right. Oh yeah.
but you're definitely coming to a place of, the next chapter of maturity.
Preach, sister. Yeah, I do not feel my age at all. So, and a lot of us don't, like the 45 from 30 years ago is not the 45 right now.
No,
I wouldn't,
absolutely.
I wouldn't say that. This today we're going to talk a little bit about spirit guides. I am teaching a class coming up in Fairfax, Virginia, right outside DC at Sticks and Stones. And you can find them sticksandstonescircle.com. About getting in touch with your spirit guide, how to do so, and how to know that you're getting the right information when you do.
hmm
Some of the methods I utilize are, praying to be in touch with your higher self, and the protection. If you ask for protection, what is that protection? So for me, I utilize the four major archangels. I also talk to a lot of divinity forms from West Africa, Scandinavia. And then also I integrate my Catholic background, Orthodox Catholic background, in all four of those things, including some Celtic deities as well. So everyone's on board,
Mm,
and everyone makes sure that the information I'm getting
yeah.
is the right information. So I spent a lot of time getting to know. I was 22 years old and saying, okay, and I was being taught. And God rest your soul, Christia Cummings Slack, who just passed away a couple years ago. And she was helping me learn as a medium how to talk to my spirit guide. And when she did, I learned that my spirit guide, Frank, was formerly an angel, a guardian angel, and lived as a human twice. And he said, I'm here to help you. If you want to help other people, I'm here to help you.
Mm.
Right. So I can't ask him for lottery numbers and shit like that, but I
Would
can
love
ask him
that.
if someone needs help and they're a good person, I can ask Frank to help me help them, and I do all the time. Uh, Part of the challenge on that too was, you know, uh, who is this Frank? Like what's
Mm.
going on? So I
What's this?
spent hours and hours really research, and then that's when I got all these aspects of his life as a human being and how he was an accountant and a former
Mm.
Persian nationalist that kind of moved here, and it was just kind of interesting. And being of an Arabic background myself, it maybe makes sense that he would pick me to be somebody as a that he could relate to.
Mm.
So for you, why does this topic kind of resonate with you? Like what where does it why
So,
does it ring a bell?
I have, also various backgrounds in religion.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was mostly raised Catholic,
Hmm.
right? So we're taught to, have our, guardian angels walk with us, right? We don't necessarily give them names, but we know they're
Hmm.
there.
Right,
You can.
right.
When I started to become more active in the Asatru religion, I
So
actually
for
met.
my cousin Joey, who doesn't know all the things
Mhm.
about Asatru, what is Asatru?
Asatru to me is, you know, a religion that goes back to the old gods of the Norse.
Hmm.
And all of the gods have different
Right,
personalities.
right.
And, just like you would pray in your Catholic religion, they all bear different meanings and different
Right.
things that you would want in your life, whether you're going through a hard time, whether you're trying to cultivate prosperity,
Sure.
each one of those different gods gives you hope and it gives you strength, right? You know, I look to my Catholic religion for peace and mercy.
So you like me can integrate both aspects together.
Right.
And okay.
Yeah. And you know, when
some people would find that to be a conflict, but I explained, and that is the aspect of the show is walking the crossroads means we can intersect on that, and we don't have to be exclusive but inclusive.
No. Yeah. And there's so many things out there. Yeah. And so I found my spirit guides, namely on the north side.
Yeah.
From, you know, I had misas done for me, and I've also had, you know, spirit.
Misa is a mass or a sacred
gathering.
And, yeah, sure.
And so I also had my spirit guides come to me in my dreams. And when I was called to the Asatru religion, that's essentially how I knew that I was walking the Norse path, because Odin is a very prominent god in my life, as he should be, as the All-Father.
And he's All-Father because he's father of a lot of the races that proceeded from him. From the gods that were born of him and the people that were born of them and what have you. Yeah.
Yeah. So he originally called me in my dreams, which was a beautiful thing. I'm also former military. So
do you find that you would call him a spirit guide of sort, or?
Absolutely, because he can show up anywhere he wants to in any situation.
And ladies and gentlemen, I have had it happen to me. It's specifically Odin himself. So Odin is a spirit guide. Other spirit guides that we.
So there's also another one that walks with me. I have a few, but you know, the other spirit guide that I know that is my protector, his name is Odi, very similar to Odin.
Okay.
And again,
what would be the difference? Like we Odin is a big patriarchal figure. Odi is what? Like
Odi to me is somebody
younger energy?
No.
No, okay.
Older.
Okay,
but
what's the difference?
He is someone who's more earthly. Someone, you know,
what lived as a human.
Lived as a human.
There you go. See. So let's ask ourselves, so here's the thing. Can spirit guides be divinity forms? Yes, they can. Can they be, in my aspect, angels or former angels? Yes. Can they be humans? Yes. So ask yourself, if we want to get to know your spirit guide, is this a human? You know, or someone that lived as a human before.
Yeah, all of my spirit guides, I would say, have lived as humans in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
But Odie is very personal to me because, you know, his background, you know, is very similar to some of my relatives, you know, that I know in the present, right? He was like the village. So he goes back to Norse. So think of Norway, Scandinavia.
Norway in particular? Or just Scandinavia?
I would say Scandinavia in general. Yeah, I don't know the exact locations.
Sure. Okay.
But he's very personal because he represents a lot of the things that are in my current, you know, relative circle.
Sure.
You know, a protector. He was the village butcher, you know. I know that sounds wild, but you know, they went to him for nourishment.
Context, because
for,
you know,
no, not a butcher.
A lot of us are vegan. A lot of us are vegan now, but you know, way back when, we need protein, and there's one person to go to, and that's the butcher. Yeah.
But he is, when I got to understand him, he was also somebody that people went to for protection because he was a I would say a husky individual, long braided hair, kind of had like that austere look, you know, like don't mess with my family.
Speaking of huskies, there's two here, but yeah. So.
Yeah, they're hiding.
Yeah, they're hiding.
But you know, when I got to understand him and know him, one of the messages that I got was, you know, if you have a problem, you come to me and I will take care of it for you. I will protect you.
Sure.
You know, so he's like the guardian angel, like that walks with me when I know that I'm walking into very austere circumstances. If I'm feeling threatened, you know,
Are we checking in with a spirit guide when we're in an intense situation? Okay.
Yeah.
And have you had a situation where you feel like you've circumvented something awful that could have happened?
Yeah.
Because of their help.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Especially, you know, like if, you know, bad relationships, or you know, you're walking into a room and you can just sense that there's things that are not quite right.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we need to exit left on this.
And have you found out afterwards that that was a really good call? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think what we're hearing here, and what I would totally agree with, is trust your instinct, trust your feeling, trust your belly, trust your sacral chakra, and trust your guides. If they're giving you a clear message, maybe let's listen to it, right? You know, yeah,
just take tone it down a little bit.
yeah.
And also, your spirit guides, they welcome offerings, they welcome things that are that represent them. Particularly with Odie, I made a specific axe for him, with the colors that I know that he represents. So again, that's something that I physically can hold, and pray to him and just ask for that strength.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any of your Catholic background? Did that come up and be part of your spirit guides or your ancestors or any of that?
Particularly with, I would say,
You don't have to get specific about your family per se, but
I mean, there are certain aspects that are very, very similar. They carry very similar traits, if you will. Particularly my grandmother, who, she's a very, strong-willed, don't mess with me type of woman. So the other spirit guides that I have, to include her, right? They kind of see things like, okay, you're better than this, or that you can move forward with this issue or problem.
Right. So if any of us have had those moments where someone from our family that may have been passed come back, my great aunts, they're not shy. My Aunt Bertie, my Aunt Betty, they're popping up and they're like, hey, brat, and they're calling me a brat, which, I mean, it's, Charlie SCX, I mean, it's like, stuff has been happening, and then they'll let me know, or either one of my grandparents, the three that have passed, or all four actually. So yeah, so it's take it to heart. But one thing I do have to say about ancestral spirit guides is our family, as we know, they may want something from us, or they want us to do something. They're not always 100% right all the time.
Because they have their own intentions and their own belief systems.
And they may, if they're right up there with God the All-Father, or whoever's there sitting right there with them, and they're synchronized with that energy, that's fine. But they may be on a path that is becoming a little closer to that, and they may not have all the answers.
No.
And they may just want you to do something because that's what they want.
Or that's what they always knew.
Right. And that's as far as I've been. I've known some people that have been given some advice that wasn't always the right to, and it because they're concerned about another family member and what they're doing and whatnot.
Well, that's a great concept that you brought up, because what happens when you disagree with your spirit guide? What do you do then?
I've heard it. I've disagreed a lot, and then I usually find out later. Okay. But if it's the one that lived as an angel before, that's yeah. And for the most part, my ancestors don't show up to bother me unless it is something that would be for my own good. So I usually listen. But I have a lot of clients, and I find out from them sometimes that they've been given some hairy advice. Yeah. So it's not always. But for the most part, I would say your ancestors are here to they're not here to bother you, But some people are stuck in purgatory, or and you may get a message that's a little wacky. So, and again, I say trust your tummy and trust your sacral. If it feels right here, then I would say then okay, When did you first feel like you were getting a message from a spirit guide or an ancestor that was working as a spirit guide? Like at what age?
So I've always believed in the guardian angels, the archangels. So, it goes without saying, for my Catholic religion, it was
who's an archangel that you who?
I would Zadkiel.
Okay.
Who is the angel of mercy.
Okay.
And then in addition to
at what age were you forming a kind of a connection?
Oh, very early on, I would say, maybe in third,
why
fifth.
did Angel of Mercy feel like that's what it
Because I've always been very close in my Catholic religion to the Divine Mercy. My church back up in Pennsylvania is very, dedicated to that specific.
being merciful towards people.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
right.
so knowing that we all need mercy in our lives and knowing that we all,
Yeah.
need kindness, right?
Right.
And, with my job, you have to have that empathy, you have to have kindness and mercy towards
As a
others.
therapist.
Yeah. In order to, understand where they're coming from.
Maybe, yeah, let's, as people, I think we need to explore that personally is the idea of mercy means like understanding what's going on with someone else and being empathetic to their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, we have so many critical things to say about whether someone got their filler in their lips or what, we all have something critical to say, or Sabrina Carpenter, or what, So let's try to be nice. Let's try to be merciful.
Mm-hmm.
What if you were in that position and you wanted filler in your lips and it looked horrible? Well,
Your decision.
I don't know. We all made the right decision every time. I don't know. Yeah, no.
No.
And we don't always listen to our spirit guide. So be nice to yourself when you don't listen, but maybe learn and grow, and maybe next time listen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good idea. If someone wanted to be more in touch with their spirit guide, what would you give them as advice?
Be present, and I would also say,
What do you mean by be present?
being able to turn your mind off,
Okay.
because the thing is we all are going 100 miles per hour,
Right.
Especially with iPhones and podcasts and everything else, right? They need to be in a peaceful space, right? Especially when they're trying to give you, that divine understanding or that divine message, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when you're able to be more receptive to it, and you're not, sitting there kind of, going back and forth with, okay, should I make this decision this way? Should I go forward with this particular, thing in my life? Being able to be present and being able to just step out of the chaos for 5 minutes, and we all need that in our lives, just to be able to step out of the chaos for 5 minutes, just to be able to sit in that peaceful space, with those people, with, our spirit guides and the people that walk before us, to help us understand, what our purpose and what our meaning is moving forward.
And I would say, please ask to be protected.
Yeah.
before you do all and do that. That is the ultimate way to really get a message. But also, let's be protected too, because we don't want to get a message from some lower, or something that doesn't really intend for us to be the best.
Well, that kind of walks into,
unless where your intention is to talk to.
Well, that kind of walks into something else, which is what happens if we have a spirit guide or a spirit that, is walking with us that isn't necessarily has our best interest at heart.
Right. And I think that if you ask for protection, and if you talk, and what I've found, and I learned from my mentor in my early 20s from Savannah, and I've learned it following along with my West African path as well. If you say, I'm asking for, if you're not aligned with the unconditional light and love of my life, of my path, then you cannot be present in this space, and you cannot be present in this open channel that I'm sending through my crown chakra. If you're not aligned with the unconditional light and love of my guardians and my protection and my life, then you cannot be present, and you must go back to your point of origin. So that says, if someone doesn't have your best interest at heart, then you got to bounce.
Yeah.
You got to go. You can't be in this. You're not part of this conversation. This is an AV conversation. See your way out. That's it. Like, you can't. So that's a real clear, message. So if you don't do that first, then that's something that's and anyone that has had a reading with me, so you will hear me use those words, because I'm making sure that the messages come from a very clear and poignant channel, and you know that, so you know that, and I think people are going to gain a lot from what you just said. A way to really get, if you can't get to that quiet point Any books on MCBT, mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, are good ways to kind of approach that. I really want to thank you, Laura Marie, for being part of Walking the Crossroads today, and we'll see you again on Walking the Crossroads.